Welcome into today's podcast right here at the Cog Hill 40. Peaches wouldn't let Nugget into the canned ham for this episode, so here's Jason and Brooke. Johnny Carson didn't have nothing on these folks.
What is going on, Cog Squad? This is another episode of the Cogcast podcast coming at you from the canned ham on the Cog Hill 40. Hope y'all having an awesome day. We're having an awesome day. We're having an awesome week. Besides, it had snowed this week after I said it wasn't going to. But other than that, it's been an awesome week.
Trying to remember what day it snowed. Saturday.
Was it Saturday?
It was Saturday.
It was Saturday. It snowed hard for probably, 15, 20 minutes?
It did. I ended up having to go to town. Mildred was getting low on her milk replacer, and, I didn't want to get snowed in.
Right.
So I figured I better go on and go and make sure she had her enough milk replacer.
Most people get bread and milk, and we get milk replacer for our calf.
That's right. But Marycarl rode with me to town that morning.
Yeah.
And boy, the temperatures weren't below freezing.
No,
so there was no icy roads or anything like that. I was just kidding about the getting snowed in. But as we were driving, you could really see how much snow was coming down.
It was coming down.
Why does that say 72 instead of...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Because I won't know what time it is. And a lot of people's yards were white.
For probably 5 minutes.
Well, as we were driving.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it was, but I got back here and our yard wasn't white.
No.
I don't know why, but where there was mulch on the ground, it was white. But our grass wasn't white.
Well, I can tell you why the mulch. I went to Pedals from the Past this past weekend, Sunday.
So that's when it snowed Sunday.
It snowed Sunday. I went Pedals on Saturday.
That's right.
Yes. Okay.
Memory problem.
Yes. And during that, I found out that pine bark resists water and fire, which I didn't know that.
What do you mean it resists water?
It does. It water. If you look, like you said, the snow was sitting on there because I guess it won't penetrate the pine bark. The pine bark, the mulch. If it's got pine, if it's inside of the trees in it,
there is no inside of the tree in the pine bark mulch.
But the pine bark itself resists water, not 100%, but it does. It does.
I know that because when the guy brought our mulch,
mm-hmm.
he told me all about the process of how it's made and everything.
Oh, really?
And there is no inside of the tree in the mulch. It's only outside.
Well, what I learned from Dr. Powell, and I don't know why it came up, but he was talking about something, and, they was talking about torching. That's what it was. They were talking about weed torching,
mm-hmm.
and he said that pine bark naturally... The inside will burn like nobody's business of a pine tree, especially
mm-hmm.
if you get one that's,
been a little bit old. Trying to deteriorate on
right, and to turn into kindling.
Uh-huh.
But the outside of the pine naturally resists because of forest fires. It's resistant to fire to some degree, and it repels water.
Huh.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. So I didn't know that, and that's when you said that made me think of maybe that's why it was on the pine bark and not on the grass.
Well, we didn't talk about it, but now we talked about it.
That's right.
So you taught me something, and I didn't teach you a thing.
Yeah, that was an awesome class. I really enjoyed it. That was a great day. It was me and then Tracy from Just Dig It Farm, and talked to Jason Powell, the owner of Pedals, and his dad, Dr. Powell. You could go to school for 30 years and not know as much as that man does about fruit trees and plants and horticulture. It's just,
His knowledge is infinite.
I thought his son, Jason, who y'all seen in the video where we went and bought fruit trees, how much he knows. His dad's like on another level, and Jason's already on another level.
Well, that just goes to show when you're passionate about something, then
right.
Your knowledge can be infinite because that's what you like.
Yeah, that is what you like.
And you know where I see that happening?
Where?
Okay, so I feel like your love and what you enjoy doing very much is editing and videoing.
It is.
And do you know what I see?
What?
Your daughter is following in your footsteps.
She seems to like that kind of thing. So we'll see. But she's an awesome artist.
She is. And for whatever reason, she really doesn't want us to show any of her art.
Right.
And
that's okay.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I wonder what makes her like that. She just is real private about it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's natural.
But she's so good at it. Now, she did tell me today, we were alone, and we went to town, and she told me that she would like to draw a pigeon shirt.
Okay.
To sell.
Sure.
And she said, Mama, do you think people would be interested in it? And she said that she had in mind to do the breeds of pigeons that she has.
Sure.
And do it like in fours and draw a picture of each pigeon and put it on a shirt. And if nobody bought it, it would be fine. But I think she wants one for her own personal.
She probably does.
But I kind of, to get her to draw the silky for the shirt, we wanted her to want to do it.
Right.
And we didn't want to force her to do anything. But it took her a little thought before she decided that she wanted to do that.
That's right.
And the same thing with the Zerk. And
right. That's right.
And she was wanting to do a peanut shirt.
She was.
A lot of people that watch or listen don't know who Peanut is, and I just don't have the heart to tell her that.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. No, but she likes to draw, how do you say it, anime?
Yeah, she loves to draw anime. Yeah.
She's really good at it.
Very good. I mean, like, really good.
And we have offered, of course, to let her take classes. We've had people that are artists that follow Cog Hill that have reached out to us and offered to teach her different techniques. And for whatever reason, she just doesn't want to do it.
She don't want to do it. So
she's kind of like a private person, I guess you would say. She keeps her talents to herself. But I do see her following in your footsteps with the ability to edit and
she shows a lot of interesting video.
It just comes natural. And she thinks it's funny that I can't. I really can't do anything when it comes to computers.
Artistic.
Well, computers either.
Yeah.
You know, like she makes those little Instagram stories, and I'm like, "How did you do that?" And she's like, "Mama, that's easy.
That's easy.
That's easy because it just comes natural to her. Nobody taught her. Her daddy didn't sit down with her and go over it with her. She taught herself."
Yeah, she did teach herself. I didn't show anything of that at all.
So
whatsoever.
And that's where the ability comes from. That's where she's like you. It's just a natural talent. She's
something else. She is something else.
And we talked about on one video that our podcast that how we didn't know what we wanted to do when we grew up.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I read in a comment or email or something that somebody said, Brooke, you should get your CDL and drive heavy equipment.
Oh, man.
And I didn't even think about that when we were talking about what we liked. And, I wouldn't mind being a truck driver, like an 18-wheeler driver.
Yeah, you've always said that.
I like to drive.
Yes.
Jason gets tired when he drives. It just wears him out.
Mm-hmm.
But I can drive and drive and drive and drive, and I just enjoy it. And a CDL may have been my calling.
It may have been.
But I saw somewhere not too long ago that it's going to be more and more difficult in the years to come to get a CDL.
A lot more expensive.
Yeah, where it's been really easy to kind of go and pay whatever $100 fee or something.
Whatever it was.
I can't remember how much it's gone up, but it's pretty incredible, the price increase, and that's going to deter people from wanting to do that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, we're in a big demand for truck drivers and any kind of, getting from point A to point B, it seems like is in short demand, short supply, high demand.
Yeah, that would be a crazy field to increase and make it more difficult to have.
I'm sure there are reasons for it, but in my mind, right now, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
None whatsoever.
We should encourage people by giving them incentives to get their CDL. And,
yes.
Good driving record. You drive well, you enjoy it. Then,
right.
Make money by doing it.
I don't know, that doesn't make any sense, especially right now. They ought to be giving a discount to get a CDL
Exactly.
license.
Or giving you an incentive.
Yes.
For going to work, being
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the United States could be involved in that, but, I'm sure it's a state by state thing too. It may be Alabama has increased their fees and maybe no other state has.
I think you're right. I think we heard that Alabama was increasing their fees.
I think you may be right.
The fee for their license.
Fee for the CDL license
Yes.
itself.
Right.
And
You could pass the test, then have to go by the license. And I think that license is going to, already have. It skyrocket, like way more than it was.
Well, when I went to get the tag for the truck,
Mm-hmm.
we have a farm tag on the truck because it's a farm truck. So I'm just a talker, in case y'all didn't know that. So I go to get the tag, and I ask the lady, who was very nice at the tag office, what was the farm tag more costly than a regular tag? Because I didn't know. And she said, no, actually, once the taxes and things are done, your farm tag actually costs more than your regular tag. And I didn't know that. I was like, well, why does everybody, you see more trucks with farm tags in our part of the country
Right.
than you do with regular tags? And she said it all has to do with hauling.
Mm-hmm.
That the farm tag used to have a number on it, and it would, you are sleepy,
I'm okay.
and it would indicate on the tag itself the weight that you could carry.
Right.
And so like a farm truck would be, you would carry less than 8,000 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. That was the limit that you could carry to be a class 1 or whatever it was farm
Right.
truck. Well, it used to have a number on your tag saying what class you were. And like a dump truck would be, depending on how many tons they were carrying. But she said now they have eliminated that on the tag. And in her opinion, it was going to lead state troopers to pull people over more often to check your license and registration, because it didn't say the amount that you could carry on the tag itself.
Right.
You had to actually look at your tag receipt to see that class.
So they would weigh you and see if you're hauling too much. Yeah.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you were, approved for whatever class you were supposed to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that that's what the farm tag was for.
Right.
I thought that we were benefiting by paying less taxes having a farm tag.
Yeah.
Well, I found out something different.
You did find out something different.
I don't think that next year we're going to have a farm tag.
Probably not. We don't haul that much stuff, so.
And, we thought that we were told one time, don't go out of state with that farm tag pulling anything.
Somebody that worked at the license department told you that.
Well,
our
a
city
friend of ours told us that their husband got a ticket in like Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
But it's if you're hauling something.
Okay.
You can only haul for like 160 miles or something like that.
I got you.
From your location, from your zip code.
I got you.
If you're empty, you can go anywhere you want to. But if
That
you're
makes
hauling something, then you had to be within your limits, whatever
whatever
mileage it was. And maybe he was hauling something and passed his mileage.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I didn't know all that and learned something new.
Learn something new. Well, I was going to say the reason why the podcast is so late today is because
we've been sitting in lawn chairs.
we've had the 2 days, and then it's been crazy. Today was really crazy. Well, both days have been crazy. The gate guy came. The builders are here. Greg's here working on the pond. So there's a bunch of stuff that's going on. And we were so scared if we started recording a podcast, somebody may need us. They may ask us a question or something. So we kind of waited to after 5, and everybody packed up and left and went on home.
I wanted to watch them. At one point today, I sat in one of our wooden Adirondack chairs and held my little dog, Gidget, and acted like I was at the movies by watching the house builders work.
Yes.
And then on the right side, we've got a fly, and it's just about to drive me
nuts. Yeah.
On the right side of that was the pond build taking place, and I couldn't decide which way I wanted to focus my attention.
It's been a whirlwind in 2 days. 2 days has been a total whirlwind. Things look way different than they did Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
Far. Video comes out tomorrow. You'll see a lot of updates tomorrow in the video, what's going on. But Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. Whirlwind.
I said on the last podcast that I didn't know if I wanted to escape this week and get away from all this hectic chaos or if I want to stick around. Well, I'm glad I stuck around because it's exciting.
Yeah, it is. I wasn't expecting Greg to show up today, and to see him start while Brant and his crew was here, yeah, it was very exciting. It was it's a lot going on. Way faster than I anticipated, I can tell you that, especially on the house. Way faster.
So today is my mom's birthday.
Yes, it is.
And I had a lot to do today. A lot that I had to get done. I had to go to the post office. And speaking of post office, we hope to have a gift opening soon.
Yes.
We have them all in here, and they're starting to pile up on us. It's going to be pretty. The next couple of days, we might have a good day to record it. So we'll try to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
But so I went in my trip to town. I knew that I couldn't necessarily bake my cake because I'd have to go buy cake pans. They're packed away. I don't know where they are. So I just thought, well, I'll pick her up a pie because we have an awesome pie shop here in Clanton.
Yeah, we do.
Alabama. It's Pies by Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And he sells all different types of pies. And his hours, I can't get a grip on. I'll say, I think that place is open from 1 to 5. And then there's one day that they're open in the morning. I just can't remember. And so I had in my mind, I looked at their website or their Facebook page or something. And today was a day that they were open. But they weren't open till 1 o'clock. So I kind of planned all my things that I had to do around going to pick up a pie.
Mm-hmm.
And Mama and I both tend to like refrigerated pies.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know exactly what I was going to get. I was just going to tell him to give me something good that's refrigerated. So Marycarl and I took care of our homeschool, got everything completed. We wanted to grab some lunch. I had some other feed things I needed to pick up. I wait till 1 o'clock now because that's when the pie place is going to open. I drive to the pie place. Marycarl agreed she'd hold the pie while I drove. I pull up, and there's a note on the door, and it says, "We've tested positive. We're closed until further notice." And I was like, oh, no, because I had just had in my mind that's what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So back to square one. She had mentioned not too long ago that she'd like to have I don't know why, but I've just been craving a cobbler. And this wasn't about birthday or anything like that. We had actually agreed to not get each other a cake.
Right.
Because I try to watch what I eat. Marycarl just had a birthday. We had a cake for her.
That's right.
And it was just not necessary. And so I agreed, Mama, you don't get me a cake and I won't get you a cake. Well, we didn't say anything about pies or cobblers.
Or cobblers.
So when the pie place was closed, I said, oh, goodness. And Marycarl said, Mama, I want some peach ice cream. And I said, okay. So that only means one thing. We have two places here that makes homemade homemade cobblers and sells ice cream. Mm-hmm. Not only do they sell ice cream, we're in the peach capital of the world, and they have peach ice cream, which is one thing Marycarl likes. So I stopped, got Marycarl an ice cream, got Mama a peach cobbler. I think she had mentioned she'd like to have a blackberry, but they didn't have that. So peach cobbler it was, and wow, it was delicious.
It was awesome. It was warm. It had just come out of the oven.
Well, when I went in, they told me, they said, no, ma'am, we don't have any cobblers. We can make one for you if you'd like to give us a call. I thought, oh, no. I said, okay, thank you very much. So I walked to the door. I wasn't going to get Marycarl's ice cream if I couldn't get a cobbler. I was going to go to my next stop because we have two choices.
Yeah, we got two peach places.
And so I got to the door, and one of the other ones said, whatever the cashier's name was, she said, so-and-so just took some out of the oven. She said, they're ready? She said, yeah. And I said, oh, thank goodness. So that meant I got a hot peach cobbler.
It was so good. Now thinking back on it, it would have been really good.
I know.
Had homemade vanilla ice cream on top of it, but we don't have room. We don't have room to put ice cream.
On the way home, I said, Marycarl, your daddy's going to want some ice cream for this cobbler. And she said, well, we don't have any. And I said, well, I know, but he's going to wish we had some.
No, because we wouldn't have had room for it. It was nowhere to put it in our little freezer.
We might have to get a little pint.
A little bitty one. Yeah, I guess we could get a little bitty one. But it was good coming out straight out of the oven. Ooh, it was good.
It was.
Man.
And Mama said, Brooke, I thought we agreed we weren't going to get each other anything. And I said, well, we didn't say anything about a cobbler. And my birthday's tomorrow, and so now she's feeling guilty because,
oh, goodness.
And I told her, I said, look, I don't want any, there's no need for regrets. I've enjoyed this cobbler as well. So we all did. Actually, Marycarl even ate some of it.
Did she?
She did.
What did she think?
She enjoyed it.
Wow. She has not tried cobbler before that I know of.
Well, we were on, yes, because she loves Tammy's, well, she calls it pudding, strawberry pudding. At the Flying Peach.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like banana pudding, but it's strawberry.
And she says that's the only dessert she likes. Mm-hmm. But she ate the peach cobbler, and she, as far as I know, enjoyed it.
In a couple of months, the Flying Peach will be back open again.
I wish it'd hurry up. I could have got
March. Isn't it March?
I think that's what they're shooting for.
I think it is March. Speaking of March, we will be at the Okie Homestead Conference in March, too.
Yeah.
We will be there.
We will.
Also, we'll have a meet and greet here in Jemison, Alabama, where you can meet us at Pedal from the Past on April 23rd.
You sure that's the right date?
That's the right date.
Okay.
So mark your calendars for that. If you're around this area and want to meet us, and there will be several YouTubers there too. The Oakley Homestead, there'll be some big YouTubers there. Daniel Arms, Keeping It Dutch, just huge. Hidden.
Chad Adler.
It's big. But this here in Jemison is going to be a meet and greet, and it's actually growing way bigger than what I originally thought. I mean, Jason from Pedals is setting up a huge designated area. Each YouTuber is going to have their own tent. House Tools, Greg and Sheila will be there. Caddy Wampus will be there. And it'll be during their Antiques in the Garden event, which is awesome. There'll be vendors there. He's going to get me a list of vendors, too. So
I bet Laura at Simply Making It.
She is going to be there.
She is.
Yep.
I figured she would.
Laura's
awesome.
Yes, Laura's awesome.
And
with
if
her
you
soaps
hadn't
and stuff, it's awesome.
Checked out her, is it her website?
Yeah, go to her website. You can order her soaps and stuff online.
But do you know what it is?
It should be Simply Making It. Simply Making It. Should be Simply Making It. I don't know if it's simplymakingit.com.
I'll try to look while we talk.
Spencer Farm.
It's not under Spencer Farm, though, I don't believe.
No.
But Laura makes awesome products.
She does. Soaps, beard oils, lotions, all out of her goat milk from her goats.
That are also from our goats.
That's right.
You keep talking, please.
Okay. But yeah, the Pedals from the Past meet and greet is growing. So you guys be sure if you're in that area.
SimplyMakingIt.com. And she's got a picture of her and her goats on the front page, and it says all natural goat milk products, handcrafted in Marion Junction, Alabama. Laura is a awesome person, and
yes. So we got Fifi and Capri from.
Yes, we're Fifi and Capri, which are Nubians. That's where
right.
they came from. Laura loves her goats with all of her heart. Laura's grandmother had peacocks, and so years ago, we had a pair of peacocks that
Oh, that's right.
We had too many peacocks.
We had too many peacocks back then. This is way before we even started our YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Laura had made a comment to me one time that her grandmother had peacocks and she loved them. And so we got a pair up to the age where we thought they were past that vulnerable point and gifted them to Laura and Chip over at Spencer Farm. And y'all, they got more peacocks than you could shake a stick at.
They got a bunch.
They got a bunch of peacocks.
Peacocks breed quite regularly. So
there are little peacocks, big peacocks. There's peacocks everywhere. I mean, it's a beautiful sight. Not to say it's not, but
that's right.
I don't think she thought that those two peacocks would turn into what she needs to rename it Peacock Farm.
You reckon?
Because that's what it is. It's a peacock farm.
Too bad she can't incorporate peacock feathers into goat milk. So.
Well, she does do art.
Yeah, she does make little art pieces.
Feathers.
Yeah, that's right.
And those are Scott's kinfolks.
Those are way down the road.
Way down the road, yeah, because that was before Scott's time. But same bloodline.
Yep, same bloodlines.
So y'all come check us out. Come talk to us. I had somebody tell me today, well, actually, they said to Marycarl, she leaned around the corner at Tractor Supply and she said, I see you on TV. and of course I was standing right there, but I couldn't see the lady on the other side.
That's funny.
And I reached around and I waved at her, and she was the local. And I'm always glad when people speak,
Yeah, that was the class I went to Pedals this past week. There was a small fruit class, and randomly they do a tour after they get through, and then Dr. Powell shows you a bunch of stuff throughout their fruit orchards. And somebody came up to me, a young lady came up to me and said, "Are you Jason?" And I said yes, and she was just so happy to meet me and said that I introduced her to Sun Gold tomatoes.
Huh.
And that is her favorite tomato now, and she actually sells them.
Wow, that would be a very good market tomato.
Oh, it'd be awesome market tomato. If you picked it for its splits, that'd be awesome.
I tell you,
Awesome
I hope that we have our Protege Garden ready.
I'm going to grow them this year, but I'm going to grow them in a grow bag. That's my plan.
You're going to have to grow them somewhere, boy, because I got to have the tomatoes.
Going to grow those in grow bags this year. I don't see us having the big garden ready for vegetables at all. So I'm going to try to do grow bags and the green stalks and, whatever else I can do. We got pots. So stuff like that will grow in pots. But I do plan on planting flowers in the big garden and getting ready to start marketing or see if we can do a little something with the flowers and at least get our get our feet wet in the flower farming business and see how it goes.
It'll kind of be a trial year.
It will be
a
trial year.
I mean, we're going to have so much going on till I don't know, but we got to have a Sun Gold tomato.
Yes.
If nothing else, we got to have one Sun Gold.
Gonna have Sun Gold tomatoes. I've actually talked to Wes, and my buddy Wes from the Naked Hog has volunteered. He said, which Wes he starts 5,000 seeds in his awesome greenhouse anyways, and so he asked me what did I want, and I told him I wanted a Bella Rosa and I wanted some Sun Golds and Mountain Vineyards, and he said that he would send me some or either bring them over here and then I'll have some tomatoes.
Well, you know what?
What's that?
By the time he's coming for the Antiques in the Garden, he could bring them in.
Sure could.
Because that's April. That'll be right up our alley for planting time.
Yep, that's true. And he's going to the Okie conference too.
We don't want them in Oklahoma. We want them in Alabama.
That's right.
So, and maybe they can come by here because we might have a house or something to show them by then.
Who knows?
I mean, a shell, not a house, but a shell.
That's right. Well, who knows? I mean, that's a few months away, so
we won't have a livable house. By then.
I don't. No.
That's what I meant.
I don't see us having a livable.
We'll
house
have a shell.
Yeah,
and we might have a few walls up. And if Angie wants to leave Wes here for a month or so, then she can. Not that she can't stay too, but I know she's got children to homeschool and.
Oh me!
But we could use you, Wes, if you could just camp out for a month or so. 2 months, maybe. I bet we could get the house complete.
You reckon?
I bet.
I bet we could.
I bet.
I don't know.
I tell you what, these guys that have been working on our house are moving fast. You don't see them sitting around.
They're going.
And I am so thankful that we did not try to do the poles and the basic shell.
Me too.
It sounded so easy.
I started to.
I'm so glad we didn't.
Even when we looked at one, we were like, you even nudged me and said, you can do this.
I did. I said that. And I'm so glad that we didn't. And it wouldn't be that we couldn't do it. Because we could do it. I'm no doubt we could do it.
How long would it have taken us?
It would have took us 16 years. But we could do it.
These guys have dug 40 holes and almost set 40 poles in 2 days.
And put concrete in them. And put post protectors on. And leveled them all up. And on top of that, they've gone to lunch. And they've had materials be brought in and unloaded.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they ain't lollygagging around.
And Brent had a doctor's appointment this morning.
Yes. And the young man.
And he didn't get here till lunch.
It was almost 1 o'clock, I think. Because I was just about to pull into Pies by Mike when you told me that Brant was there with poles.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah,
I'm
getting it.
I think we can handle the inside because we can work at our own pace.
Mm-hmm.
But on the framing part, once you get that untreated lumber on there, it needs to be in the dry.
Yeah, it needs to be in the dry. Plus, if we start to get, the framing part and we feel like we're somewhere we can't do it anymore,
we can call in the pros.
We'll find somebody that can. So that's what I'm thinking. I'll have my lifeline if I need to throw it out there.
Wes is our lifeline right now. I was fixing to say something. I have read so many comments about why are y'all not gonna, what kind of foundation are you gonna have?
Oh, we're doing a slab.
Yeah, but they want to know, how in the world are we having a slab when the slab isn't poured first? They're used to seeing a house
a traditional style house
that a slab's poured first.
Yep. On a pole barn house, the poles are set and put in concrete first.
Not always, but that's the way our guys doing it.
And that's the way the Amish do it. I've seen Amish build them. That's the way they do it too. They'll set the poles first, then come back and pour the slab.
Mm-hmm.
And, the reason is our poles are in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
They're 4 foot deep in the ground. And so that's why you do it that way. It's, if you still would have to set the poles first no matter what.
Well, you don't, some people do, but we didn't want our post to be mounted to the top of the slab.
Right. And
reason being is because we're in a tornado-prone area. We have some
tropical storm winds.
Right. And it just wasn't an ideal situation for us to mount the post.
The wind shear is what it's called. The wind shear, wind shear scale, wind shear whatever wind shear rating.
We did a lot of research.
Yeah, we did do a lot of research. And when a pole's 4 foot in the ground, just like a telephone pole, that's why a telephone pole isn't usually mounted above ground. But it's the pole's 4 foot in the ground, so if the wind blows, it's a lot harder for that pole to move versus one that's above the ground,
mounted on a plate.
So that's why we didn't do it that way. Now, up north, a lot of them do it that way, but they don't have to worry about tornadoes and hurricanes and tropical storms like we do here.
Right. And that's what I wanted you to explain. I know some people do pour the slab first and do the post on top of it.
Yep.
But where we are, that's typically not the way it's done. It's typically done by post being. And it took me a lot of research to figure out why things are done differently in the south versus in the north, or in the east versus in the west. And it seems like it's crazy because
basements.
Basements is another thing.
You don't see many, even though this is tornado country, you do not see many basements in the south. And reason being is our water table so high.
Right.
Our frost line and stuff's like 5 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to worry about water intrusion on basements. When you go up north, it's your water table and your frost line's way deeper. So, and that's...
It's just the differences in regions.
And the difference in regions. But you do not see many houses built in this area all with basements.
No, you don't.
All.
And a matter of fact, if you hear somebody and they say that their house has a basement, you're like, your house has a basement?
Yeah.
And we had a gentleman to come over here when we were still in the search for a contractor.
That's right.
He said, if this was my place, I'd put a basement in.
And park under the house.
Mm-hmm. And we were like, light bulb went off. We would love to have a basement.
Yeah, we'd love to have a basement.
Then that would eliminate the whole storm shelter. We could be in our house, go down, into the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
And we started doing some checking. And about $80,000 later, we decided that probably wasn't going to work because
the minimum was $70,000 when I put the numbers in for a basement.
And that's that's
that was
no
unfinished.
House. That's no house.
Yeah, that's just a basement. Yeah, that was no house because of the way it had to be built here. And I was like, that's just way out of our budget, $70,000.
I mean, it sounded great, and we were excited because we had not thought of going that route.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably the reason you don't see many basements.
You just don't. There's just not that many basements around here at all. Every now and then you'll see one, and most of the time, well, of course, it's on a hill. Most of the time, they're almost always on a hillside.
Right.
And people park under them.
Yeah.
That's typically the way you see basements here. You never see a house that's on a flat level surface with a basement in our area. You just don't.
Like Ruth and Victor that live down the street from us.
Yes, that's on the hill.
On Cog Hill.
Mm-hmm.
They have a basement, and they constantly have, a moisture issue too.
Yeah, they do.
Up under there. And I think that's just along with the way that
and they park like a garage type basement.
It is.
Park under.
It is. They don't live under there. They just park there. And it's like his shop area.
Yeah.
But that's the way most places are around here.
You don't see many basements, and their places on a big hill.
It is.
Yeah.
And it was ideal, to have like a park under. You remember when we were building our house?
Yeah, that's what we wanted to do with ours.
Well, no. Do you remember that the guy that came and did the little bit of site work, your daddy explained to him what we were doing?
Yeah.
And he didn't show him the plans?
Right.
And the guy thought we were going to park up under the house?
That's right.
And he fixed the little bit of house pad to where we could park up under there. Mm-hmm. And we got there, like, after he had done all his dozier work. And I was like, what in the world?
Right.
And I had a 1960 John Deere that your daddy had gave me. And all I had was a box blade. I didn't have a front end loader or anything. And I had to straighten that mess out. Do you remember it? And that's probably the reason we ended up 6 foot in the front and 2 foot in the back.
Well, plus it was still, we're on a big hill, so it had to be like that. There's no way it could have been flat.
Well, it was a blessing for us to work out the way it did, because you couldn't have been flat and it work out.
Right.
So that was funny though when we came in that next day.
Yeah, it was.
And we
funny.
we were like, what in the world is this pad? Because it did not at all fit the house.
Right.
And your poor daddy, he didn't know. He didn't know. So I fixed it with the tractor.
That's right. You did take care of it.
I took care of it.
That's back in your rookie days.
Oh, I didn't know what I was doing.
At all.
Now I know what I'm doing. I should be out there digging that pond and move that Greg out of his position and me take over. He had some help with him today.
He did have some help today. It's the first time.
And
well, I say that. He's had the young man that helps him from time to time.
And I told Jason, I said, I don't know why Greg felt like he needed to bring some help with him. I could have done what he needed me to do.
That's right. And you would have done it for free.
I would have done it. I wouldn't have charged him a dime. I would have been over there. I would have enjoyed it. Instead of sitting in this chair watching, I could have been in the seat of that D5.
I wonder if he'd have put you on the D5 or he'd have put you on the track hoe.
I wanted to be on the bulldozer.
You wouldn't want the arm.
No. Well, I mean, that's just not fun.
See, that seems like more fun to me.
Well, then you get on it and I'll operate the D5. But they got a lot of work done today.
They did get a lot of work done.
They are pushing topsoil around and trying to get down to the whatever it's called.
To the base that he wants to use for the pond. He calls it the base. That's what he's been calling it.
It's a certain name for that material, and I can't think of what it is.
I don't know about all that. We are going to use that topsoil. I asked him what he was going to use the topsoil for, and he said he's going to put it on the dam so you can plant grass and all that on the dam for it. But then I said, can I have a little bit of it for the fruit orchard? Because, Tracy's been working with designing our fruit orchard and Protege Garden. If you saw the last video, you saw her little plan she had drawn out, which is pretty cool. And so she wants us to build these little berms and plant our fruit trees on top of it. And Greg said that he would pile us up some dirt, some great topsoil for that. And you can move it with a tractor. And you started to move it with a tractor, and it was not going to work.
I don't say no very often.
Especially when it comes to moving stuff with a tractor.
I told you, I need to be over there moving that dirt as soon as he piled it up for me. And you were like, well, you don't have to be in a big hurry. He said he would, he'd leave it there for you. And so I'd just been biting at the bit to get to that dirt. Well, one afternoon I had time, and I said, I'm going to move as much dirt as I can before dark. And you were doing something else. Mm-hmm. So I went with my tractor, and it's kind of across our house site, then down to the pond, and then there's the topsoil. So I would have to go down the hill and then back up the hill. Well, no problem. I do that, pretty regularly. Just have to have your head screwed on straight before you get started. So I got my loader full, I kept the, level low so I wouldn't be too heavy. And I started going up the hill. Well, the hill wasn't the problem. But when I got to the top, I could start feeling, it going from side to side depending on which side of my loader was heavier. And I dumped my bucket, and it literally looked like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, yeah. And then you were like, this ain't going to work.
I said, there is no way I can move as much dirt that needs to be moved.
So I asked Greg today, would he, because it won't take him 20 minutes probably, if he could take the Trackco and get me a dump truck load, because the Trackco's here, the dump truck's here, the D5's here, the bulldozer, all that's here. And it's literally what?
Probably 300 yards.
If that. If he
down
could,
the road it would be.
Yeah. If he could fill the dump truck up with the topsoil and take it over there and dump it. And of course he said he would.
Well, I did four loads. And after those 4 loads, I just didn't feel comfortable. And I can't say there have been too many times when I've said to myself that I'm scared something's going to happen. Because I did. I was scared there was something going to happen. I just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I quit. And I'm glad I did, because it takes a lot for me to give up when I feel a little uneasy.
I'm glad you did too, because we don't need you having no accidents on the tractor.
Well, you always tell me that baby's got to have a mama.
That's right.
Well, baby's got to have a daddy too. But I just threw in the towel and I said, hey, I wonder if we can get Greg to move it, because it would literally take me days, all day.
Yeah,
for days.
It would have taken you a long time. It won't take him 20 minutes, I guess.
And he probably thought we wanted one little mound, that I could move it with my tractor.
Yeah.
And make one little mound.
Right.
But it's not like that. It's like, what, 6 or 7?
I can't wait. Actually, I measured today because Jason wanted me to get an idea of how many fruit trees I needed, because we bought some, and he's got some coming in, and he wanted to make sure that when they came in, he'd let me know and put them to the side, and I'd go right over there and go get them. And so I wanted to count, see how many I needed. And Tracy had done the plans, but I just needed to know how wide my beds were. Mm-hmm. And they're 140 foot long. And we could put 8 beds in there, but 7 or 8 rows. That's 20 foot wide. That's at 20 foot wide rows. And that's because Jason said put an 8 foot mat down, so there'll be 4 foot on one side and 4 foot on the other. And I said 15 foot in between. So that's where I got the 19 foot from. So 20 foot basically.
If he asks you, is one dump truck load enough, you say, could you do 2?
Yeah.
If you talk to him before I do, because I really would like to have, it's not going to go to waste.
Right. It's not going to go to waste.
If he can move 2 loads, that would be great.
Because we can use it in the Protege Garden too.
Yeah. And it's not going to be an eyesore. We can put it to where, and I can move it easier.
Yep. Talking about the Protege Garden, Tracy had it drawn out, and I can picture it. I don't know if you can or not, but I can picture it. She's got the Protege at the back of the house, and she has an archway where we walk into the garden from the back of the house. Then it comes around the side of the house, and it'll step down our hillside into the fruit orchard, and there will be a 8-post pergola. Or that's what she said. Jason actually said 8-post.
Okay.
An 8-post pergola that you walk under to go into the fruit orchard, and she wanted to put bunching grapes on the pergola.
It sounds beautiful.
Don't it sound beautiful? But you know what I'm thinking?
What?
I really would love a climbing rose.
I thought you were going to say you like wisteria.
No, I like wisteria. Don't get me wrong.
They have one at Petals that is just beautiful.
It is, but they hate it.
Do they?
That's the one they got to pick the pods up all the time because it spreads so easily.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It's beautiful, though. It is. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Well, it's probably been there for 25 years.
Yeah, it's like the biggest round as my leg.
It is.
Wraps all around the... Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, but I love, and I always have. I've always loved roses, but I just didn't know anything. I don't know anything about roses whatsoever, and they seem so daunting. Just you seem intimidated, or at least I do when it comes to roses.
I kind of feel like we ought to keep it all in the fruit family.
Oh, yeah.
Use the flowers somewhere else.
Well, I told you that I wanted to put some roses in the Protege Garden because that's pretty common. But I'm talking about
to plant on the
orchard. I mean, on the pergola.
On the arbor, yeah.
Yeah. She said the bunching grapes, which we can grow. I learned this in the fruit class. 3 types of bunching grapes because it doesn't get cold enough here for us to grow your typical grapes like Concord and that kind of thing. Did you hear that?
Yes. Oh, I'm running.
Oh, I was wondering what that noise was.
Oh, goodness. I think that's what it was.
But
I've got some kind of craziness going on.
There's one, listen to this story, y'all. There's one called, I know I'm going to say this wrong, Foxy Toddy. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, it is a grape that's very similar to a Concord grape that somebody found in Alabama. According to the story is that this lady had one growing in her backyard, a species that no one's ever seen before, and they named it after her. And they found
Would
it in
be on?
Tuskegee. Type in Tuskegee. Oh, it's probably on pedals too. Foxy.
Okay.
I thought it was Foxy Toddy or Foxy Trotty.
Okay, you keep talking.
Anyways, listen to this. They really don't know how this grape came about, but what they're thinking is from interviewing and figuring it out is that this lady threw Concord grape seeds out. Mm-hmm. And one of those seeds was a mutation.
What?
And then that mutation, still don't see it. I know it's Foxy.
Well,
anyways,
there is something called Foxy Rose. It comes up.
That's a rose. This is a grape.
Oh, that's right. I think I typed in Foxy Rose.
I think you typed in rose. Anyways, so she threw out these Concord grapes. One of these grapes was a mutation, and then that grape, for some reason, does well in our area, and they got the grape and they've propagated it, and now that's the grape that we can grow here.
Huh. Foxy grapes.
No, it's one Tuskegee, Alabama.
Foxy grape.
It's Foxy Trotty or Foxy Loxy or something like that. It's something like that. And so that's one grape we can grow here. Another one's called Daytona that we can grow here, and there's a third one that I cannot remember at all.
Well, you know who grows a lot of grapes and grows them very well?
Who?
Stan and Kathy.
They grow musky dimes.
No, they grow grapes too.
Really?
Yes.
What kind?
Well, they can tell you.
Okay.
But I can't.
The musky dimes we can grow here.
They grow grapes as well.
Now, the musky dime is a native grape to the southeast. I don't know. I think I heard Dr. Powell say once you get in North Alabama and right at the Tennessee line, you can grow musky dimes, but once you get on up there, you can't. They don't like the colder weather. They like our heat and humidity. So
when I was growing up,
we
lived across the street from some people. Their last name was Scrooshy, and he became the son became a very
Hilt South.
Yeah, he was the.
Yep.
Anyway, became famous.
Yep.
Lack of other way to say it. It was his parents'
Good and
home.
bad.
Yeah. It was his parents that live across the street from us. And so they had a big arbor. I don't even know if it was called an arbor because you couldn't even see up under it.
Yes.
But I want to say that the thing was made with wire.
I tell you what was common back in the day. And my granddaddy had one. A lot of people had them. It was more than 4 posts, I know. But it was like...
theirs was more than 4.
But it was like a rectangle shape, and you could walk under it.
You could walk under it. We played up under it.
And the whole top was completely filled with musky dimes.
It was
and you
dark.
would pick them from the top.
Yep, it was dark.
That must have been the most common way. I need to ask Jason about that next time I talk to him. That was so common. You would see backyards have those musky dime trellises like that all over the place.
Yeah,
that was so common.
I remember going over there and picking, the musky dimes or scuppernons, whatever they were, and it being so dark up under it that you literally couldn't hardly see the hand in front of your face because it was so thick with...
Yeah, so thick with musky dimes, but you don't grow them like that anymore, or I guess you don't see it like that anymore.
They would grow to the ground on the side. You would literally have to peel the vines back to get in there.
Most of the time, they would try to cut them back.
No, these people didn't.
Well, but most of the time, that's what you would do. You'd want them. In theory, what you'd want to do is walk under it and pick your grapes from up there.
Well, they had a bunch of them because I remember it. And I think I've said this before, but the people that live next door to me, they had, and we're going to have to ask Jason about this, they had a cherry tree.
Yeah, I saw Tracy had a list of fruit trees they got in, and cherry trees were on there.
Well, they didn't plant this tree. This tree was there the whole time I was growing up. And I am not kidding. There were thousands of cherries on that tree, and they were beautiful. And I remember my mom and daddy always told me, that's not our tree. We don't pick off of it. If they, offer for you to pick off of it, then you can. But it was right on our fence line, so we got to see it all the time. But it was just beautiful.
Yeah, cherry blossoms are gorgeous.
No, I mean the fruit was beautiful.
Oh, the fruit was beautiful.
Yeah.
Did you ever try it?
Yes.
Was it good?
It was good.
Huh. Interesting.
And I don't like cherries, but those were good.
I saw that there was cherry trees on that list that Petals had come in, but
these were almost black.
Ever have anybody say anything about a cherry tree.
I've never seen one planted anywhere.
I haven't either.
Except for that one that I grew up with.
Now, we got a wild one that's on our property. I think it's a black cherry, wild black cherry.
I don't think this would have been wild, though, because we were in a neighborhood.
Because it was really, really teeny tiny.
No, these were big.
Yeah.
And they had beautiful stems on them. I wish we could plant a tree like that because it would just reminisce me back to my...
Well, write that down, and I will ask about that because I saw that they had cherry trees that came in.
I just don't know what kind of cherry tree this would be, but I mean, you know how when you just think back and your memories...
That's right.
I remember the scuppernons.
My granddaddy had that. My granddaddy had that. And speaking of... Scuppernons and muscadines are the same thing.
Really?
Yep. Dr. Powell explained that to us. The Scuppernine variety was created in the Carolinas. I can't remember which one it was. And they called it Scuppernine, but it's actually a gold muscadine.
Well, are they all gold?
Scuppernines are all gold.
So when you get into the purples, what are they?
Muscadines. They're both... Petals calls them both muscadines.
Okay.
But there's certain people that call the gold ones Scuppernines. And
what color were your granddaddy's?
Both. I remember him having the gold ones at one place, and he had the place at the river, and they had purple ones there, but I can't remember which ones were which.
Ones that are...
I guess I never taste tested them side by side, but they both taste very similar to me.
Well, the ones that were across the street from us were huge. And they were gold. Yeah,
that would have been a Scuppernine, but I don't know... Now they have so many names for them. What's funny is that the ones Petals sell, a muscadine, you generally have to have a male and female.
Okay.
For them to cross.
Uh-huh.
But what's funny is that Petals, the females have female names. One of them's Darlene, and one of them's like Sherry. It's funny because they're just regular old names. It's not some
Did they make
fancy
them?
Nancy. No, but Dr. Powell is about to... They may have a muscadine there that's theirs that he invented, but he's fixing to have a kiwi that's his.
Really?
Yep. He's been working on it for several years.
Huh.
Ain't that something?
The
man's a genius. I'm telling y'all. He knows everything there is about fruit trees and fruits. And
isn't it amazing how knowledge is so broad from different people in different areas?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's what makes the world go round,
right.
But it's just enticing to know that there are so many people that are passionate about different things.
Yeah.
And they can take it so far.
Oh, man. He can. Just pruning. And the pruning thing is what that I wish I knew more about. And I even mentioned to Jason that if he had just a strictly fruit tree, and he could even do it by category. He could do apple pruning class or a pear tree pruning class. Or we went to, they showed us how to do blackberries. And so you got that. And the way they grow their blackberries is awesome, as you know.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
As you know, it is. They have a 10-foot section, and then they put T-post in, and it goes up 3 foot, and there's a wire, and then goes up another 2 foot, and there's another wire. I think that's right. But you get the picture.
It's kind of hard to explain.
So there's 2 T-posts on the end, and there's 2 wires going across from T-post to T-post. And they'll have 3 plants in between there, and they cut everything back. And it just have 2 branches at the bottom wire and 2 branches at the top wire, and that's it.
You know what I feel like?
And it's like 30 pounds of blackberries on those plants. It's crazy. Matter of fact, one section, I take that back, one 10-foot section would yield you 45 pounds of blackberries. Yeah.
We need 3 10-foot sections because Marycarl's going to eat 90 pounds.
Well, Tracy asked me how many did I want to do, and I said, I really don't know.
We didn't freeze dry any blackberries last year, but
No, I
I
don't
bet
wonder.
you
I
freeze
bet
dry
they will.
blackberries would be good.
Because I've heard of freeze dries raspberries. Raspberry and blackberries
Well, blueberries you see all the time.
all the time.
But blackberries are not something, and it's either you're going to love it or you're not.
Right. Well, we get asked about blueberries a lot. I mean, not blueberries, raspberries. And we cannot grow raspberries here. We can't. They hate our heat and humidity. Up north, I think, around Tennessee, you can start growing them. But here, they don't do well. But blackberries thrive here. Absolutely
I was
thrive
about
here.
to say a little bit earlier that I feel like one of the most important ways to get a lot of fruit is to know how to prune.
It is. Know how to prune, man. You should see like petals, pear trees and apple trees. They're only like, at least no taller than 8 foot tall.
It's crazy.
And they'll have, matter of fact, we're talking to Dr. Powell, and he said, Tracy was asking how far do I need to space my pear trees out. And he said, you could do 9 foot apart if you want to, if you keep them pruned. 9 foot apart for a full-size pear tree. You ought to see their pear trees. If you saw my last video, you'll see the pear trees in there. It's just amazing how they prune them.
But if you want to be productive with your fruit and not just be a big, huge, fancy-looking tree that you don't care about the fruit, then you better know how to prune it.
I think they look beautiful when they're all pruned that way. I just think it looks cool. It looks very, very artistic.
Well, we're after fruit. And
we're after fruit.
Somebody said, what do y'all plan on doing with all that fruit? Well, it's simply for our own personal use.
It is.
We have a freeze dryer. If we have an abundance of anything, then we will freeze dry it and we'll save it for later.
And we got animals that will eat it too. Peaches
right.
would like it. The goats would like it. Moody would like it. So none of it would go to waste. But yeah, we absolutely, I just love them. I just love fruit trees. Just love them. And I've never had the opportunity to grow fruit trees.
Right. So
I'm in hog heaven.
So that's where we are with that. It's not that we're trying to produce anything to sell at a market. It's just simply for our own personal.
That's right.
And plus that, we just think it kind of looks cool.
It does look cool. It's very beautiful. And the way that we're trying to set our fruit orchard up is going to be where we should be able to keep up with the fruit production, because we're going to do it during, certain times. Like I'll have something that's going to produce it, starting in May, and then it's going to be just continue on down. It's not like everything's going to produce all at one time. So
right.
That's the great thing.
That is the great thing. I'm excited about it. I mean, I kind of don't know when this is all going to take place because we got so much going on. But if Greg gets the dirt over there, then,
Oh, yeah. If Greg gets the dirt over there, we're going to start working on it.
We're going to start working on it. And probably, now's a good time, of course. We've already put our trees in the ground, but it will not harm them to take them up right now and move them. Now, if we were doing this and we made a decision in May, it would not be good.
Would not be good.
But we have plenty of time. February is...
You could do it in May, but you'd have to put the water to them.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that.
We'd have to baby them.
We'd have to get Mama over there with a hose. She's good at... we used to have a lady that owned a nursery. She was up in Plantersville, Alabama, and... oh, my gosh. My exercise ring got closed.
Your watch thinks you're exercising.
She was kind of our plant mentor.
Yeah, and good friend.
Here we are, Jason and I, 23 years old, interested in plants, landscapes, gardens.
Yep.
She didn't have anybody like that came to buy plants from her.
She didn't.
And so she enjoyed visiting with us and trying to teach us what we were asking her.
Yep.
We wanted to learn. We wanted to know more. And it seemed like her best advice to us, and we always thought it was crazy, was cut it back.
Cut it back. That's right.
She wanted to cut everything back.
She was a pruner. I'm talking about she pruned everything.
And now I know why.
Yeah.
In order to encourage growth, and I'm not trying to encourage everybody to prune, because you don't just prune everything.
No, there's an art to it.
There is an art to it, but she would encourage us to don't be afraid to prune, because that would, in turn, in a lot of species, add more flowers or more growth or make the plant, produce more and look better and healthier.
That's right.
And, I just always think back to that time when we
cut it back.
gosh, we were kids and we were visiting the plant lady, and we would save up our money until we could buy plants to fill in this little bed. And
we would. And if she ever wanted to get rid of something, she called us.
Oh, if she decided that she didn't want to do a certain species anymore, or she only had a couple left of something, oh my, we were open arms, because she knew that we would, we'd get it in the ground and we'd take the best care of it we could.
That's right. We would be there.
Her name was Deb, and Deb is no longer with us.
That's right.
She passed away from cancer, but Deb was a good lady.
She was.
And I think that's where our plant love started.
It is. She helped encourage it.
She did. Yep. And I'm thankful for Deb, because I don't know where we would be without Deb.
Yeah, because she was a wholesaler, but she sold to the public, and she was a good little drive for us in the middle of nowhere. So what she did for us is not only did she give us a ton of knowledge, her prices were so reasonable that we, as young 20-year-olds, just starting out and having a passion for plants, we could afford to buy her plants.
You could buy 5 from her, what one nursery price plant would cost. And it was just simply because she took cuttings and she got started from by herself.
Yeah, a lot of her stuff she started for herself, and so she, all she had was her time in it.
She had her time in it, and we tried to help her as much as we could.
We did.
We would save all the pots and return those to her.
Give her all her pots back, and which y'all do that now because nurseries are having a hard time.
Did you take those pots back?
You know what? I forgot to take the pots back, but I'll be going back here pretty soon. Matter of fact, it's next month. Well, got 2 classes I'm going to next month.
When we were buying from Deb, there was an apartment complex in the city where we lived, and they did a huge landscape job. And of course, they didn't buy the plants from her, but the landscapers had no need for the pots because they weren't.
Oh, that's right.
They weren't reselling plants.
Right.
They were simply landscapers. And so I stopped and I asked them, I said, could I, do you have any use for the pots? And they said, no, we're going to put them by the road for the garbage to pick up. And I said, okay, can I have them? And they said, yeah. And I called Deb and I said, hey, I found a bunch of pots. Do you want them? And she said, sure. I said, it's a lot of pots. It took me 2 truckloads.
Oh my gracious.
To get those pots to her.
Wow.
But at the time she was paying like $0.05 a piece for a pot. Which now they're almost $1 a piece?
I don't know what they are now, but I know Jason said that that was a few weeks ago, they may be higher than that, were 20 or 30% more than what they previously cost. And they're having a hard time getting them. So that's why I said, if you guys have any black pots, or they don't have to be black, just typical those planting pots that you're used to seeing at nurseries have, take them to your nursery. They will be so thankful that you did, and you'll be recycling them.
That's right. And Deb was so appreciative of those pots, and that was way back when. Like I said, pots were probably $0.05 then.
Yeah.
And they're all sizes: 1 gallon, 3 gallon, 5 gallon, 7 gallons, and that's what all those were. But just thinking back on the way we helped each other out, I knew her phone number by heart. We were she was just an encyclopedia of knowledge.
She was.
And a workaholic. Workaholic. That lady stayed outside.
Her nursery is right there in her front yard.
I miss her so much. It's just, you think back on the knowledge that she had, but she passed it on to us. So
That's right. She did.
We're not nearly as knowledgeable as Deb, but we're doing our best.
That's right.
Carry on.
That's
right.
Wow. Well, I guess tomorrow we'll have contractors here again. It's supposed to be some nasty. We had snow Sunday, 65 tomorrow.
Yep.
And then freezing rain Thursday.
Yep.
So it's a whirlwind here. You don't know if you're wearing short sleeves,
but guess
thermals. What? It's crazy.
Guess what?
What's that?
I still.
You got your thermals on?
Have my thermals on.
I've been wearing my onesie.
It got up into the 50s today, but I still have my thermals on. Pants, too.
Brooke bought me a Carhartt
Union suit.
It's a union. I call it a onesie. It's a union suit. It's red, and it's like thermal underwear is what it is, but it's all one. It's all one piece.
I better get that ready for you by Friday.
Yeah, you may want to.
Or Mama better.
But what's so funny is what's so funny is it's got a flap in the back, so if you gotta go to the bathroom, it'll open up.
You didn't need to tell us all that.
Funny. Oh me. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Cogcast podcast. You may want to keep your flap shut.
Keep your flap shut until it's time to go.
Y'all be good.
Well, 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 it's another one in the books for the Cog Hill 40. Join us again next week for our next edition of the Cog Hill podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.